Welcome back, everybody. We are here again with Dr. Johnson, and we are going to be talking about Catalyst AC11 in this video.
The most misunderstood of all the serums.
An unloved color. No,
it is. It is an unloved color. Listen, some people ask me, why would you formulate that color? I'm like, not planned, not intentional. It was, like many things with Catalyst, a big surprise. So, I want to start with a bigger picture for you because I think vitamin C is one of the mainstays of skincare. And not, most people would agree with that. Vitamin C has been a hit for 25 years. I'm not sure, it hasn't been too long, but it's been, and there's been a lot of misinformation about vitamin C because almost everybody, if you ask them, what is so great about vitamin C? They say, oh, because it's a great antioxidant for the skin. Not true. Not true. The skin does not use vitamin C as an antioxidant in its first initial fight. Like if you're going in the sun, it's not like vitamin C is the go-to molecule because it doesn't have a lot of it. So that is fallacy number one. That's the vitamin C's most important role is as an antioxidant. Not true. Its most important role, and this has to do with this idea of scurvy. Remember that skin condition people got on boats when they didn't have enough C? What vitamin C does is it makes amino acids stick together. It's a process called hydroxylation. It's the most important process it does. And it does it in your dermis. So the vitamin C has to be in your dermis. And it does it over and over again. So when vitamin C does a job of making this amino acid, let's see, proline and glycine need to stick together to make a collagen or an elastin molecule. Vitamin C comes in, makes proline sticky, it combines with lysine, and the first part of the ladder is built, and it keeps going from there. Okay, so it's easy enough to understand. Now, that vitamin C doesn't disappear after that's done. It literally hangs out and waits for this molecule called glutathione to come on by. Glutathione is super easy for the body to make. It's only 3 amino acids. So glutathione comes by, flops that vitamin C back over to an unoxidized vitamin C. So vitamin C does oxidize, and that's when everyone talks about, oh my gosh, oxidized. Well, here's the thing. That happens probably 100 times. That molecule has a lot of lifetimes. So whether or not vitamin C is oxidized when it hits your skin or not has very little to do with how active it is. There are 99 other lives that vitamin C is going to live. If it goes into your skin oxidized, it's okay. If it goes in unoxidized, it's okay. Most vitamin C oxidizes before it even makes it to your dermis. So even though it might be nice and fresh and clear or yellow or white or whatever your serum is, by the time it reaches the DEJ, it's oxidized already. But again, it doesn't matter because in the dermis, it gets recycled over and over and over again. Okay, that's point number one. Point number two is that the name of the game for vitamin C is penetration. For the reasons I just outlined, the most important thing you could hope that your formula does is get more C into your skin. Now, there's a balance here because what I found is over 10% of vitamin C in a formula is inflammatory. It causes exfoliation, it causes free radical activity literally by itself, increases sun sensitivity, and has its limitations. So a lot of people are like, more is better. There's a limit to vitamin C, and I think the 20% serums are overkill. We're going to talk about one particular C in a minute that's misunderstood as well, but in general, 10% is what you want.
No, sorry to cut you off real quick. Now, are you saying for just L-ascorbic, or is that all forms of vitamin C? You think 10 is the max?
Great question, and the answer is no. I'm talking about L-ascorbic.
Okay, perfect.
And it's literally L-ascorbic, like it's the chirally correct version of this molecule. If you are a cheap chemist, you use ascorbic acid. And what that is 50% L and 50% D. D is not the form your skin uses. D has supposedly some inflammatory components to it. So the reason why higher strength or better formulas have that L in front of them is because they're using the version of C that your skin likes best. It's the most potent, least irritating version of it. Well, let's talk about a couple of the options. So there was a while there where it was big. I think Perricone pushed ascorbyl palmitate. Well, ascorbyl palmitate was super stable. Like that was the storyline. Well, guess what about ascorbyl palmitate? It was never bioavailable. This is why the lab stopped using it. In other words, it was really good at not breaking apart the ascorbyl and the palmitate, but that meant when it got inside the skin, it had the same problem. So the skin could never use the ascorbic acid in this molecule. It was always stuck to the palmitic acid. That is why most labs don't use it. In fact, I do not recommend ascorbyl palmitate as a supplement. It actually harms the microbiome. And just that whole C ester story that went crazy for like a decade was all BS. And guess what? It's no longer really a story. C ester thing is old news. Now you may have, I don't know if you talk to C esters in other brands. Okay, yeah, it's old news, right? It's not a big thing. Now, then you have ascorbyl glucoside, another stabilized molecule. This one's pretty good. But again, the problem is ascorbyl plus glucoside, it does break apart eventually because we have something called glucosidase in our. The thing that these vitamin C's are attempting to do when they stabilize, they're having to add another molecule. Well, guess what? Ascorbyl glucoside means it's bigger. Ascorbyl palmitate means it's bigger. Tetrahexadecyl ascorbate. Isn't that a mouthful?
It is a big one.
Now, you know, what's interesting about that molecule, because I researched it, I thought, wow, this is interesting, another stabilized C, should this be good? But turns out that is also called ascorbyl isopalmitate. It is also not bioavailable.
Uh-oh.
So like ascorbyl palmitate, it gets into the skin without being oxidized, but it never cracks off the isopalmitate so that it can hydroxylate and make those amino acids sticky. So it's a good plumper. It can be good to reduce color irregularities in the skin, but that's really expensive for something. So we were talking about percentages. Well, you know, a much higher percentage of that is not harmful at all because it never breaks off. It's sort of a inert molecule in the skin. So ascorbyl glucoside is the same way. You can use like a 15, I think I even used a 20% when I used ascorbyl glucoside in the past. But I defaulted back to L-ascorbic acid. And I went a step further. So what Catalyst is going back to L-ascorbic acid, but then adding the other components that create the process called, that I was talking about earlier, the hydroxylation process in the bottle. So literally we put these ingredients in the bottle at the lab and it bubbles for a month before we can even stick it in the tubes. And the reason why is if we didn't, it blows the lid off. Like we used to have containers shipped to us and the entire lid would blow off on the truck because it's so active. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you is Catalyst is such a different animal. Now it's the only vitamin C that actually reverses scarring. It's the only vitamin C, like it'll treat old acne scars that are 30 years old. There's no vitamin C that does that. It's the only vitamin C clinically proven to heal broken capillaries. It's the only vitamin C to cause skin tags to fall off that I know of. It's the only vitamin C to tighten eyelids. So it has a very unique vitamin C performance. It's the only performance you need. I get it why people want white creams. I would totally wish this thing was white and delicate. But you know, make it work. Figure out how to get it into your routine. You really need a pump twice a day to get the clinical benefits. And it heals old wounds. Like it is. We're using it right now. I have a scar removal company. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Oh my gosh. We'll talk about, the scar. Because you, depending on how that heals up, and I expect it to heal up. I told her to put Catalyst under a Band-Aid and we'll see if that accelerates it. So while you're sleeping at night, it's like you have a mask of Catalyst that stays there, doesn't get rubbed off by the pillow. And, I have a company called Tat Extract where we remove tattoo ink holistically. And it's really effective. But one of the things we started doing was we're remodeling scar tissue. And we're using something similar to this in the formula, and it's super effective. So amazing for scar tissue, amazing for increasing elasticity, caused a 110% increase in firmness in our clinical trial. So I know, like, there's always the debates. What C do you use? But here's one last thing I'm going to leave you with. In clinical trials, they found that oxidized C And this is, you know, maybe 30% oxidized because of those reactions happening in the bottle, making sticky amino acids just for your skin. Because when they looked at vitamin C versus C and how much they penetrate, oxidized C penetrates better.
Mm-hmm.
And if it penetrates better and it has 99 other lifetimes, then it actually makes more sense to use oxidized C. I know it's not the most visibly elegant, but this is why I haven't changed the formula. This is why I probably will never change the formula. Yeah. And I get it. If you have snow white skin, you know, maybe you can only use this at night or something, but you should try to have it in the protocol.
Yeah, we definitely have just a few people who are so pale that they can only use it at night, but like you just said, make it work. It's so worth it. Yeah. And the results are absolutely amazing. I just had a client, she drove in from like 3 hours away, and we were talking, and she used Catalyst on her skin tags, since you brought that up. It took 8 months because it was on her face, so she had 2 skin tags above her eyes.
Oh, those, yeah, they don't like to do surgery on those. So
so I mean, it took 8 months, but after 8 months, gone.
Yay.
I didn't even know they had ever been there. I mean, it was absolutely amazing.
That's so interesting. Yeah. 8 months is a while. Now, one way to speed that up is, again, she could have done the Band-Aid thing. It's a little weird on an eyelid, but a little tiny Band-Aid over that, and it probably could have cut the time in half. But yeah, that's great news. And you know,
she's so happy. So.
Yes. Boy, I mean, I'm super excited that so many of your customers are so happy.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, they're so happy, which makes me so happy, which I just love Osmosis.
We're one big happy family.
I know, we are. It's so exciting. And of course, you guys know the story of how I stumbled on Osmosis. And
Do I know that story?
I probably told you, I don't remember. You probably hear so many stories. But yeah, I had really, really terrible acne scarring, not like pig scarring, just post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And I had been using Zeo Medical. Everybody's heard the story, it's no secret. And it just made my face, you know, after 2 years of using acids and retinol and a little whisper of retinol in every single product, my skin was just so sensitized and reactive, and I had all this scarring. Like, if you saw photos, you wouldn't even believe that was my skin. And I stumbled on Osmosis and Catalyst and Calm transformed my skin.
Wow, that's great. I probably did hear that story, but it's always nice to hear it again.
Yep.
And that's amazing.
Yay. So anyway, well, thank you. Yeah. And again, Catalyst.
And then a star was born.
Yeah, star. So funny. So wonderful. So again, Catalyst is one of my near and dear products, and now of course I absolutely love Rescue. It will always be in my routine. And I think that
I think we've given a lot of I look forward to the next one, but we hopefully you guys enjoyed these videos, and you know, ask Leah the tough questions, because then maybe she'll every once in a while have to email me for a tough question.
Yeah.
She probably knows the answer, but
I don't know all.
Just to flatter me.
I'll ask you the silly ones. Well, high five, we did it. Yay!
Good job,
okay, yes. Thank you guys so much. If you guys have any questions, you know, you can always contact me. Yes, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.